Isaac Asimov modeled his Foundation series after the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. And he taught us how to move away from the concept of empire, because that is a primitive way to organize into what would be properly defined as civilization. And yet, we've never learned that lesson in history from back then or all the times after that. And now we see collapses of modern day empires who name themselves all sorts of different things. They've used the word democracies or republics or League of Nations or United Nations or NATO or whatever it is. And yet, they endorse ideologies that create inequalities of things that allow us to enjoy the life of a human. And it goes beyond just food and shelter, because those needs are easy to come by when elites are out of the equation. They can be done in small villages, and they can be done in simple forms of proto-societies. What causes wars is, some people in positions of power wanting more than others, and not understanding that when they pursue this, which includes ridiculous ideas like bigger shelter and more to consume, we move away from the concept of humanity, of culture, and what would make us great, what would make us develop the human thinking tools, the first type of technology that we've never pursued. So the concept of elitism has always been present in empires, in religions, in things that relate to assets or ownership, when really, when we meet our basic needs as a collective of shelter and food, and then we start developing what is really what our brain was meant to develop, the concept of humanity, which I see a lot more in other species, by the way, than us at this stage of our own devolution. And by the way, what causes our devolution? It's the technologies that are used then. If you watch the soldiers fight and how they describe wars in every failing empire that tries to label enemies here and there when they are just people that have less than them because they have more. So again, the concept of equality. Then we find that these weapons are always turned against them, and that they prevent the development of civilization, and that they are actually what causes things like shelter and food, basic needs, to not be met. But there's also misinformation. You'll see soldiers fight, and they'll just fight out of orders, and they have no clue because there's no internet. They have no clue what's happening at the levels of the elites and these senates and these great meetings of history that are made up of people that are no smarter than somebody that has a farm and gets along with their neighbors, for example, and manages a village well with friendship and equality and respect for each other, and a concept of lifelong learning to keep growing, but keep growing not to have more stuff or more elaborate shelter at the expense of others, because we can't all have this. It's impossible on one planet. The concept of resources being finite, which is very logical. Even they would only know of certain parts of the world and not know of other parts. But eventually, when we know of all the world, we still know it's finite. Now, our species has gotten so good at technologies of war and technologies of misinformation that, yes, still soldiers of today, still with the internet, still people with guns today are clueless about the reality that they live in, and that even leaders are now. Even leaders are incredibly disconnected from reality, that it's no longer possible to self-correct. So this is the last time of history that we are repeating this cycle that we've never matured from, to leave pre-adolescence and maybe develop adolescence as a species. So it's pretty sad to be living in this time of history where the lessons were there learned, but they were never learned, including by the elites.
It will be the end of the Roman Empire. It will be the end of Rome.
The end of Rome? How does an empire die? Does it collapse in one terrible moment? No. No. But there comes a time when its people no longer believe in it. Then does an empire begin to die. Fathers of Rome, I have lived under 4 great emperors. Trajan, Hadrian, Antoninus, Marcus Aurelius. And during all those years, our empire grew, changed. The law of life is grow or die. And you, the senators, are the heart of Rome. It is through you that the people speak. Speak up, let the world hear you. Let the world know that Rome will not die. There are millions like them waiting at our gates. If we do not open these gates, they will break them down and destroy us. But instead, let us grow ever bigger, ever greater. Let us take them among us. Let the heart of the empire grow with us. Honorable fathers, we have changed the world. Can we not change ourselves?
Yes!
So you would think this is an extremely wise speech, but how he defines growing and greater has nothing to do with undergoing the self-actualization, the maturation process of becoming human. Even him and his wisdom, near the end of his age, with all the history he's learned from, he's still limited to the ideology of land, empire, borders, assets, growth in a consumption and ownership kind of way, which again shows signs of being underdeveloped as a member of a very, very vast and confused species.